All right, from 1986, we've got a cool piece for you. This is General Hawk. This is the second version of him. Obviously, he was one of the OGs back in the day, but this is the first version, really the version we all kind of grew up with, that we all know from the cartoon. Fantastic piece from 1986. Hard to believe, 35 years ago. Wow, really puts things into perspective. So, first thing I'm going to do is we'll give it a little flop test, see how floppy his legs are. They look pretty good. They bend, but they don't flop around. But the waist is a little bit floppy. It's not the worst. He can stand. He's okay. He does have both thumbs. Crotch is in good condition. Both feet, no cracks there. And I'm gonna look around, see any paint wear. I don't really see anything too telling, too massive there. Sometimes on these high points, you'll see a little bit of paint wear on it, but overall, pretty good paint job. Now, I want to zoom in here and let you know he does have some elbow cracking right there. Slight elbow crack on the left there. Don't even know if you can see it. Same right here. That light on there, just so you can see it. Seem to bend, but I don't want to force it. I'll flip him over on the back. Looking pretty good there as well. Not a lot of paint wear on the back, even on the back of the boots, which for whatever reason tends to be a lot. If kids used him with his firearm or his accessories in his hands, those tend to lose a lot of paint, but I don't see that either. Now, none of these will come with their accessories. We do have some accessories from the same consignor, but in a different part of the auction. There just weren't any complete figures that he happened to bring in. He brought in a lot of good G.I. Joe stuff, but no complete stuff, so we just decided to make it something that you can outfit your figures the best. That way you don't have to get him, and if he were complete, we'd offer him complete, but this way you have an opportunity to get him and some of his equipment separately, if he's got equipment. I don't remember if he's got any stuff coming up in this auction. So there you have it, 1986. This is Hawk. Here we go. Next up on the block, we've got Scoop from 1989. Looking pretty good there. Kind of an undervalued figure. Not like anybody's out there writing tons of Scoop fanfic. He was not featured heavily in the cartoon. But still, he's somebody's favorite out there. Somebody, I'm sure, went on to become a journalist and thinks back fondly on Scoop. So let's first start off with the flop test. He is not floppy in the waist or the knees. Knees do bend. They're a little stiff. Shoulders are pretty good. Stiff there. Elbows bend. I don't want to force them. You know, it sounds like he's got a little grit in the neck. And a little discoloration in the head, so I imagine this one was played with outside. In fact, a little discoloration all throughout, so I imagine he was probably played with outside, which is absolutely fantastic. I love the fact that some kid out there was playing with this. Well, I love to say. Now, for you as a collector, maybe you don't like to see that, so that's why we let you know. Got both thumbs. Those are looking good. A little wear on the front of the toes, but the toes are there. They haven't cracked. Sometimes that happens when you put them on a stand. Some of those stands end up being a little bit too large for the holes and they crack, but not this. And of course the crotch, the ever popular crotch crack right there, does not exist. He is in good shape as far as that goes. Now let's zoom in here. I do want to point out he's got some elbow cracking. Not even sure where. We noticed it earlier. Did appear to have some elbow cracking. Maybe you can see it. I can't from this angle. Right there. His right. Left as we're looking at it in the camera. Be aware of that. I will flip it over. Again, not a ton of paint wear, a little bit on the back, a little bit on the heels. some on the hands, but more just he needs a washing. Like he's got a little bit of staining on him. Overall, pretty great looking figure right there. So if you're a fan of Scoop, if you're a fan of any of those 89 figures, there were some really good ones in that year, then you're going to like this. Head on over to TheBigToyAuction.com and you can see him and all his drinking buddies. Next on the block, we've got for you Crazy Legs. Oh boy, this was a fun one. Now he tends to break at the crotch a little bit more, simply because of the way his parachute was affixed. Sometimes people would crank on it a little bit more. We don't have that. He also tends to get loose legs. He actually becomes kind of crazy leg, and that doesn't seem to be the case here. We're giving him that flop test. One of the things I love about being able to do these video condition reports is you get to see exactly how he moves and does what he needs to do. So, we'll point out he does have both thumbs. They are there and intact. We pointed out the crotch earlier is looking good, and of course both feet are available. So now let's look for some paint wear. Helmet looks a little bit good. In fact, more so than wear, I think that might be a little smudge. I think it might have scratched onto it. Or maybe it did smudge down to the black below, but I think it's the other way around. I think it picked up some paint. A little bit on the thumb right there. That's about it. The important thing is we're going to zoom in here. I'm going to show you one of these elbows. Did notice a very faint elbow crack right there. Be aware of that going on. Not seeing it over on this end, but that doesn't mean that he doesn't have both. And we'll flip him over here. Now, this one has a lot of texture to his outfit. Uniform there, obviously. And when you have that kind of texture, sometimes you get a lot of paint wear, but we're not seeing it. Even these high points right here at the calf, we're not seeing a lot of paint wear there. We're not seeing much on the helmet. If you don't mind those, that one faint elbow crack, I think you're in good condition, or in good shape with this one. If you start building him together, he doesn't come with any accessories or weapons, but if you've got some weapons or accessories at home and you're ready to start outfitting them, I think this is a good one to start with. Head on over to TheBigToyAuction.com and see if you can get yours today. Barbecue from 1989. Wow. Why did I think he was earlier? Maybe my information here is wrong. Well, we'll edit it in later if it is, but he seems like one of those 85 character. Maybe I typed that in wrong. Anyway, this is Barbecue, as we said earlier. The first thing I'm going to do is give him that flop test. Pretty good there. No looseness in the knees or in the waist. All around pretty good. Got both of his thumbs. Got both of his feet intact, and he's got the crotches there. Hasn't cracked or stressed or broken off. As far as paint goes, wow! Normally this gets some rub. You lose that insignia on his right shoulder right away, and most of this rubs away. You can see right at the high point of the nose he has started to rub, and that's unfortunate. Nothing on the feet, nothing on the arms as far as I can tell. Some good highlights, but I do want to point out these elbows. So there's a slight crack right there. Can you see it? Elbow crack right there. Don't see one in his left arm. Definitely in his right. Flipping back over here, a lot of times that wears and this wears, but I don't see that kind of paint wear there. So paint job wise, this is fantastic. Crack in the elbow wise, unfortunately, that happened. But he displays so well. So maybe this is one that if you've got the accoutrements for him, the accessories, maybe you want to start loading him up. He'll look great on a shelf. As long as you just stay away from that arm, and even that isn't too bad. But I would stay off that arm, as Dr. Nick, and let him just serve as a display piece for a little while. I'm sure you can get some value out of that arm. It's not a bad crack, but we like you to know everything. Big Toy Auction. So head on over, you can get him and all his buddies at the Big Toy Auction. And here we go, a nice one right here. This is Lift Ticket. He is he complete like that? I know he's a driver. I don't think he came with any accessories. He certainly doesn't have any today. Like most of these that came in from our consignor, we got a bunch of figures and then a bunch of accessories, so we made them available separately. Some do go with each other, but none of them were complete. So rather than piece them out and make you take stuff that maybe you've already got, we did it this way. We figured that's a little bit more fair for you. You don't have to buy a whole bunch of stuff you don't. Alright, so here you go. Flop test, so you can see what's going on right there. He is tight in the waist and in the knees. These bend, yeah, they bend. I don't want to push them too hard. A lot of times, I don't know why, I guess just because his nose is so large. A lot of times you get paint wear on that nose, but I'm not seeing it there. Overall, I'm not seeing a lot of paint wear on this. Knee pads tend to get it, and I will point out that both of the knee pads are there. On a figure like this, sometimes those crack off as well, but they are not cracked. They are in good condition. He's got both thumbs, he's got his crotch, he's got his toes, so all around looking pretty good. Take a look at the rest of that paint wear. He does not have his microphone. I guess we could consider that an accessory, and he certainly does not have that. It's lost real easy right away. It's not rare to find him with a microphone, but less common. But I do want to point out, if you see right here in that elbow, there is a crack in the elbow. For those of you for whom that matters, hear that? A lot of times we talk about elbow cracks, and I'm amazed at how many collectors, G.I. Joe, long time, very ardent collectors, we mention the elbow crack and they say, what's that? I gotta point out that a lot of them do get that, and they go back to their own collections and they see, oh yeah, I do have some of that. So you see, it's not really all that important all the time, so long as those arms stay in good shape and aren't pushed past their limits. Sometimes you never ever notice. We'll flip it on over on the other side. See, not a ton of paint wear here as well, except right there on the high point, right on the back, you see that chip. Can you zoom in on that? But even if people don't notice, we still like to point it out. So we let you know that he's got that elbow crack, but it's otherwise a great piece. So head on over to TheBigToyAuction.com. You can leave your pre-bids right now on this and all the other items we've got available for you. Or you can join us live on auction day. Whichever way you choose to bid, we look forward to seeing you at the auction.